Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going in Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steve and Larson. Yeah. So, 4th of July weekend. How was your 4th of July? I'm sorry, I got distracted for a moment and lost myself in the intro. Usually, I can rely on myself being so automatic for the intro. And then I remember there was a thing I wanted to do here on the show today.
And then that distracted you.
Did I mention that we're on Twitch? Did I do all that?
You didn't do any of that.
Wherever podcasts can be found in the audio realm, plus we tape live on Twitch, twitch.tv/Steven Larson. And go ahead and give us a thumbs up if you're watching us on the YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. How was your 4th of July?
It was good. Stayed up too late. So I'm tired today.
I love there's no like, oh, it was great. The kids had a blast.
Yeah, the kids
did some fireworks or firecrackers and stuff.
Relaying the information that is relevant to what we're doing right here.
Yeah. Oh, fair enough. I wanted to bring this up. This is what I was looking at on my phone as a favor to a good friendo of ours, Sandra. She's been a friend of ours for a very long time now. Whenever we do like charity streams, she's always the first to plunk down like tons of money. She's really just an absolute treasure. And she asked me to give a little promotion for a benefit show for a wrestler in her area named Amazing Junior, who is forced to retire apparently due to a broken neck. This is in the Southern California area. And this show, this benefit show, it's the Pro Wrestling Benefit Show for Amazing Junior, Friday, July 23rd at 8381 Catella Avenue, Suite J in Stanton, California. Doors open at 7. There's going to be food, music, wrestling memorabilia raffles, and all the proceeds will be going to Amazing Junior. Referee Rick Knox is going to be there. Scorpio Sky will be in action. Very AEW's own Scorpio Sky. So yeah, it's a wrestling benefit down there in SoCal. So yeah, please check that out. Sandra asked me to see if I can get any promotion for it. I said, of course, absolutely anything for you. So yeah, just wanted to get that out of the way. My 4th of July was awesome. Spent it with the family, had some ribs, had some mac and cheese, and then I came home and tried to comfort my dog. Gave her some calming chewables that seemed to help a little bit. So
that's good.
That was fine. Good. My neighbors actually, surprisingly this year, my neighbors were actually not too obnoxious. Like last year, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning, bang, 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 bang. This year, they chilled out a little bit. So that was nice.
As late as about 12:30, there's still people around here that were lighting stuff off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it just wasn't as obnoxious this year. I think it was more like in the distance you can hear stuff, but so it wasn't that bad. Gotcha. So yeah, good stuff. Anyways, we've got some wrestling news and then some questions we're going to answer. So why don't we get right into that, Larson?
Sure. So, of course, Zelina Vega made her surprise return to SmackDown this past Friday. And Fightful Select, go subscribe to Fightful Select. And PW Insider has some details as to what brought her back, or how she made her way back to WWE. Fightful is reporting that, quote, there were several influential names pushing for her to be brought back by the company, while PW Insider is reporting that, quote, there were segments of the company who felt she should have been retained and not released. And, quote, eventually, after a long period of back-and-forth conversations, WWE execs apologized to Vega and made her an offer to return. PW Insider noted that Vega signed a new deal as recently as May, but then one source told them that it happened, quote, much sooner than that, but all sides opted to keep it quiet so they could strategize a return. As to whether Vega negotiated something in her deal that would allow her to stream on Twitch, Fightful states that their sources told them that, quote, they haven't heard of anyone working that into new deals yet.
So one thing that I noticed was yesterday, I think her Twitch channel, which now has become sort of a home for Tommy End, formerly known as Aleister Black, to increase his KDR on Call of Duty and do some really great sort of QA stuff with his fans. So I know that that channel has been used for that. I think yesterday they went live, I'm not mistaken, for like to do some fireworks stuff. I was trying to find her channel really quick because that was sort of a big deal at the time, you know. It was like, oh, she wanted to keep on streaming, and they were like, no, you can't keep streaming. So yeah, it'll be interesting if that's the case, if she's allowed to continue to do that. I don't know. Let me see here. Oh, okay, here we go. Broadcast. Okay, so this claims that the last broadcast was 4 days ago, so maybe they deleted yesterday's, but I swear they went live and they were just going to do some fireworks or something. I watched it for like 2 seconds, and it was like footage of just somebody walking like outside in the dark. I was like, oh, they're doing like an impromptu Blair Witch type thing, I guess. I don't know. So anyways,
this is, you know, of course, when Tommy and Alistair got released, it's like shortly thereafter there were reports that there were people within WWE that thought that was a bad idea, that it was too soon to give up from a creative perspective on him. So it's interesting to see, you know, I don't know from what approach, you know, whether it's Nick Khan or someone else who's really green lighting a lot of these releases, what approach is being taken in terms of, all right, what's the criteria that someone, you know, it has to meet in his eyes, their eyes, whomever, to stay versus go. You know, obviously it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of consultation, maybe.
Yeah.
You know, if it's simply a line item on a spreadsheet where he's going through, I just don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
But you know, there seems to be, you know, like when Joe got released, it seemed like Triple H like right away was like, no, we're gonna work on getting you back. You know. Yeah. So, and we've heard, I think, in a couple of instances where that's happened with people getting released NXT. You know, talk about trying to bring him back to NXT. It's just interesting. I don't know. I don't know what the consultation's like between departments. Just don't know at all.
Feels like, I mean, yeah. I mean, that's one thing that WWE seemingly doesn't seem to be great at, is just like internal communication. So yeah. It is kind of funny though. She signed a deal as recently as May, according to PW Insider, anyways. But one source told them that it happened much sooner than that, but all sides opted to keep it quiet so they can strategize. I mean, that's still 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And they could strategize on a return. Her return was kind of an underwhelming event. I wonder if strategize just means, all right, we have her, let's figure it out, and then eventually on day of, they just sort of, hey, we're gonna just debut you now. We have an empty slot. Let's put you in there. We're doing.
You
want
to get you in the Money in the Bank match, and so we're just going to say you're in the Money in the Bank match.
Right. You'd think that, you know, 2 months of strategizing would lead to some grand scheme, but they're just so old school over there. They don't do that stuff. I saw an interesting. This is such a tangent, and I apologize. I saw an interesting Reddit thread the other day where somebody asked, you know, can you think of a huge moment in recent WWE history, relatively last decade, that didn't come as the result of a last-minute change? Like Seth Rollins cashing in evidently happened day of, right?
Yeah.
Massive moment. Daniel Bryan winning at WrestleMania was originally supposed to be Batista, and then they changed it because of the fans, right?
Yeah.
And it's just kind of funny that all these great moments are basically because of the whims of a 75-year-old man, like which has its pros and cons, but one of the pros of having those whims and doing things by your gut is these great moments that happen, you know, but it's at the cost of the build, because the build is usually terrible. But anyways, that's
the build's usually terrible, and usually, you know, unless the moment is so astronomically huge, if the build's not that good, the moment kind of doesn't feel as impactful as it could be with good build.
I don't know. I'm thinking of doing a video for WrestleJuice, because like I feel like every single big moment was because of that. And on the flip side, and this is not to like, you know, talk crap about AEW or anything, but with AEW, we can literally map out the world title scene years in advance. I mean, we did that basically 2 years ago when they started. We're like, oh yeah, so Jericho's probably gonna have it first, and then oh, Mox is there, Mox will have it next, and then Kenny will probably take it off Mox because they did a thing, and Kenny's gonna be a champion. You can sort of map out the entire thing, whereas in WWE you have these shock title changes, and sometimes it's actually really cool.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah. Sometimes you're scratching your head because you just don't understand why. Let's take a quick break from the show to get a word in from today's sponsor, Sheath. Steve?
Yes.
You're a boxer brief type guy, right?
You know that, man. I like to keep my business secure, but I also need some room to let these dude parts of mine breathe.
Okay, all right. All right. All right. Well, let me tell you about these sheath boxer briefs I got on. They're designed to keep your man bits off your legs.
Oh.
In fact, I have a pair right here.
Oh, yeah.
See, sheath has 3 individual compartments.
Mm-hmm.
Right here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
To keep everything down here.
Yeah, right
separate and cool and comfortable. Think of it this way, Steve.
Okay.
Sheath has an inverted kangaroo pouch. Got my hand on it right here.
Okay.
For your Joey
Mm-hmm.
to keep it from sticking to your thigh.
Oh, man. That's great because I hate when things get sticky. Unless I really want them to get sticky. You know what I mean? Wink, wink. I'm winking right now.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
I got some in my eye. Yeah.
I know what you mean. Oh, anyways, sheath's got a modern ergonomic design that's intended to prevent skin-on-skin contact for extended periods, which can cause heat and sweat. And when you get heat and you get sweat and you put them together, Steve, what do you get?
You get junk funk, man. It smells nasty and nobody wants to be your friend if you have junk funk. That's what happens.
Well, yes, junk funk does happen, but sheath prevents all that because everything is separate. That means no smelly undercarriage, and that means you'll chafe and readjust way less.
That sounds amazing. So if you want to keep your front area cool and comfortable, go to sheathunderwear.com/raw for 20% off your order today. That's SHEATH underwear.com/raw. Make sure you use promo code RAW at checkout.
Trust us, you'll be doing your junk a favor by going to sheathunderwear.com/raw for 20% off. Again, that's sheathunderwear.com/raw for 20% off.
Let's talk about a guy who could be a champion wherever he goes, but luckily for us on Thursdays, he's going to stick around. Moose could have gone straight to WWE's main roster.
What? So, of course, recent reports seem to indicate that Moose is staying in Impact. But I don't think they've announced anything officially, have they? Nor Impact Wrestling.
I don't know if they would, because it's not like Impact ever announced that he was like.
Don Callis said, at least in storyline, that Moose's contract.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Out.
You're right. Yeah.
I mean, considering that he's kind of one of the cornerstones of the entire promotion, you think.
I wonder if they're going to kayfabe his re-up. Yeah, that could be. I don't know.
Could be. Anyways. So according to Fightful Select, and as we always say, do go subscribe to Fightful Select. They're great. WWE was interested in bringing him in prior to his recent free agency. Fightful notes that, quote, there was hope that Moose could get signed and head straight to the main roster, but they add that Impact reached a deal with Moose before WWE could even negotiate with them, so an official offer was never made. I mean, Moose, he's a great talent. You see the lengths he has gone to get better, in the ring. His character works really, really good. So, it's a huge signing for Impact to keep him around because he's going to be champ, I think, once he beats Kenny for that belt for a pretty long time.
That's kind of
barring injury.
That's kind of crazy that WWE was like, hey, we're gonna give this guy everything. And he's like, no, I'm not even going to listen. I'm staying with Impact. I'm Mr. Impact. I mean, look, we've talked about this before. The benefits of being with Impact is that you tape once every 3 months, basically. Like you do 1 week of tapings, and then you just get to chill. This dude is in prime shape, by the way.
Yeah.
When he stood there at the top of the ramp this past week, and they made a point, the TV direction was great. All this stuff was happening in the ring, and they rack focus past the action to Moose. So you have this stuff happening in the foreground that's more prominent, but it's out of focus, and Moose is back there, and he's just jacked, right?
He is.
He looks amazing these days. And, I mean, kudos to Impact for however they're finding this money, because I mean, if WWE thought so highly of him that they were going to put him on main roster, that had to have been a decent paycheck in waiting, perhaps, and for him not to, for Impact to. If this is true, that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
I mean, it seems like Impact put a lot of faith and have a lot of confidence in him.
Yeah,
the way they've built him up over the last year, and two, he's going to be their top guy for a long time. And yeah, as you mentioned, he's in fantastic shape. You see what he's done. Like a guy his size shouldn't be doing. You wouldn't think, would be doing Spanish flies off the top rope.
Man, yeah.
And the effort, the work he's put into putting on good matches on a consistent basis.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I definitely see why Impact want to keep him around, and if that means, they gotta break the bank a little bit, you got to do it.
Yeah. No, I know. I'd love for somebody to like interview him and get his thoughts on all that stuff, because he's never been. I don't think he's ever actually won Impact's top title. Like he bought the TNA title off eBay or something, and he started carrying that around, but then he lost that to Rich Swann. Who lost it to Kenny. And yeah, we both think that Moose is going to be the guy to take it off of Kenny. Speaking of guys who could take that title off Kenny, I'm assuming you saw the Vikingo, the El Hijo del Vikingo gif. How amazing was that? How nuts is that move that he did? I did not in a million years. I was like, oh, he's going to do like a 630 off the top. It's going to be crazy. And then he jumped and he just stayed in the air because he jumped onto the pipe that was there.
Yeah.
Whatever it was. That was insane. If anybody hasn't seen it, so AAA had an event this past weekend, Veron Escalando 2021 or whatever it was. I probably butchered that name completely. Could you, what was it called?
It was something like that.
Okay, I thought you were looking it up.
No.
And there's this amazing gif of Vikingo. But apparently he was also, during the match itself, I couldn't find the fucking card anywhere. But apparently during the match itself, he was doing like Kenny Omega signature moves.
Well, that's interesting.
I think he's going to be the dude. I don't think it's going to be Andrade. I think it's going to be him.
Huh. That would be interesting.
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
There was a bunch of wrestling this weekend. There was that GCW backyard wrestling show.
Oh yeah. Did you you started watching the FMWE one, right?
I was close. Verano de Escalando. Cool. Right on. Look at me. What?
FMWE. You watched some of that, didn't you?
I didn't watch the main event, which seemingly, like from what I saw, was kind of the only thing that you really needed. It was just kind of honestly like I watched it a couple hours after it wrapped, and I don't know if they didn't have like a proper hard copy version of it that without the glitches, because it was a kind of a glitchy mess. And maybe that got resolved. I mean, I saw all sorts of GIFs. It looked like some of those explosions look crazy as shit. They were doing some nuts stuff. So I'm going to check it out. I bought the stream for FMWE. I mean, the mid-card matches, like the stuff leading up to the main event, they were fine. There was some weird direction as well. But it was whatever. I think the main thing was going to be the Onita match, though.
Oh yeah. Let's talk about this here real quick before we get to a Raw preview and answer some questions. So, of course, Piper Niven has been great so far during her first 2 weeks on Raw, and according to PW Insider's Mike Johnson on the latest episode of the We Don't Need No Stinking Name show, Vince McMahon has been impressed by her work as well. These transcripts are from Wrestle Talk. This is what Mike Johnson had to say, quote, "We're going to see a lot of Eva Marie and Doudrop because Vince apparently loves the end goal. I was told he's super impressed with Piper Niven so far. Vince McMahon apparently wasn't too keen on the storyline prior to beginning on television. After the first week, McMahon was sold and was very high on Doudrop's character. The story I was told to me was he wasn't sold on the idea, but let's do it. Then after the first week where Piper stood up to her, he loved it. He loved the facial expressions. Obviously, I'm paraphrasing stories are of multiple people. There's going to be a lot more storyline development with these characters in the weeks ahead."
That's cool. That's good. I like the story so far too. Eva Marie is a wonderful heel. You want to see her get her ass kicked. Yeah. And I'm looking forward to this. It just feels like a very sort of old school, straight up story they're telling. And it doesn't seem like they're belaboring the point. Like the first week, basically, there was like her being irritated, her basically standing up for herself. And the second week, showing Eva Marie, hey, I don't need you. I'm kind of curious. I'm legitimately interested to see how this is going to play out tonight.
Same. Yeah, I appreciate the fact that they have a story and they're not spinning the wheels and telling it, which is a rarity.
Yeah.
You know, they're kind of just getting right to it, and I appreciate that. Speaking of Raw, we have a Raw tonight. This is what's set to be on the show, according to WWE.com. First up here, the New Day is set to square off against WWE Champion Bobby Lashley and MVP.
Ooh, first time MVP has wrestled in like 6 months, I think.
6 months, I think.
Yeah, since he had that knee injury.
Yeah.
Also, The Miz to host Money in the Bank edition of Miz TV on Raw.
Ricochet and Morrison, they're both in Money in the Bank.
Tell me you saw that Morrison promo.
I saw the very beginning of it. Where he steps out of the water.
Holy crap. This was like a 2-minute long promo, 2.5 minutes, I think. All one take. He starts, and the water is relatively still when it starts, too. Like, you could see a couple ripples where they start recording and he dips down under the water. He probably holds his breath for, I don't know, 30 seconds or so, 15 seconds to let the ripple subside.
Yeah.
And he gets out of this, is dropping this absolute poetry, rhyming moist, drip, wet, all those great, Johnny Drip Drip phrases. Talking shit about Ricochet. They got a rematch on Raw, which, by the way, is going to be a killer match.
Mm-hmm.
And and then he concludes. So you say you didn't watch the finish of it?
No.
He concludes. There's like a small. So it's like basically the small lake that he's at. Comes out of it, and he's walking up on the land or whatever, and he gets to the point. There's this tree, and there's like a little tiny platform of like, I don't know, wood or something that's sort of in the ground. And you think that he's going to do the bottle flip trick. Instead, he throws the bottle up, and then he does like a jumping, spinning heel kick and blasts the bottle all in one take.
That's pretty crazy.
It was insane.
That's pretty crazy.
And I'm like, if I'm Vince McMahon, I'm like, get a camera, either just air this damn thing on Raw tonight, because it'll be one of the more exciting things that happens.
Yeah.
Or say, listen, next time you do this, can you give me a heads up and we'll send a camera crew to you? Mm-hmm. So it's not just like on Frankie Monet's iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
It still looks fine. It might be a GoPro now that I think about it.
Yeah.
It still looks fine, but if you get like a TV camera, like a TV camera there, oh man, who would want to see this shit on Raw?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it was crazy good. This match is going to be.
It's gonna be.
I'll be honest with you. I hope they do something else crazy to warrant a double count out, so that next week we get another one.
Yeah, and they go home and then do something else with the crazy finish, another double count out.
Why not?
And they have a crazy moment at Money in the Bank to take each other out. And then
yeah, exactly.
Anyways, the last segment announced Charlotte Flair set to provide medical update on Raw because Rhea Ripley chop blocked her last week.
Oh yeah, and then I think was it Sean Ross Sapp? Somebody said that WWE sort of walked back the idea that she might actually be. They didn't want people to think this was too serious.
Yeah.
So they tweeted something. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, I remember what it was, but yeah, I saw that too. You want to answer some questions?
Yeah, let's go ahead and answer some questions.
Mr. Triplemania, Juan Guerrero Jr. says, thinking back to the days of WCW.
WCW.
Who should have actually been the first person to break Goldberg's streak instead of Kevin Nash?
Oh, man. It should have been like,
Chris Jericho.
Yeah. Like something like that. Like, were you building somebody up for the future to do that? But his streak should have lasted ages. I mean,
Sid should have been the one to beat him.
No, that's a terrible answer, actually.
Good answer. Correct answer.
It needed to be something. Bret Hart with the plate under his shirt. Yeah. DDP? Yeah, I don't know about that one. It's not really a future star. He was like 38 years old at the time.
Yeah.
Benoit, Jericho.
Eddie.
Maybe even Ray. One of those dudes. Perry Saturn.
Okay.
Lodi.
Raven beat him.
Raven. Billy Kidman. He was kind of a charisma vacuum. He was great when his character was charisma vacuum. He was like basically like a crust punk. Mm-hmm. That was sort of his best
character work. Dog's barking back there.
There's something going on back there.
Rick Sparks says Vince is apparently high on the Eva Piper Niven storyline. Which storylines do you think he is also high on? Which storyline is he low on to the point that one bad steak could get it trash for good?
For some reason I can't get. I know he loves the King Nakamura stuff. He has to love the Corbin stuff.
Yeah,
I think he loves that. What other storylines are going on right now?
I'm trying to think of something on Raw.
He loves the Riddle Orton stuff. I guarantee that Riddle's probably going to win that briefcase. By the way,
I'm sure he loves that. I'm sure he loves the Kofi, Bobby Lashley stuff. Like all the major stories right now going on, I think he's probably into. I'm trying to think of some of the.
What do you think? How does he feel about Nikki Cross?
I think he's into that. I think the one that he might not be into is the Dana, Mandy, Tamina, Natalia one, where they're just interrupting each other for some reason.
So he's just like us.
Yeah.
Is that even? Yeah, he's got to be sitting there thinking, "This isn't even a story." None of them make sense. Oh yeah, he probably. What do you think? Well, Rhea Ripley and Charlotte. Hey, I guarantee he doesn't like it. You know why? Because Charlotte's about to win, and Nikki Cross is going to cash in on her. Nikki Cross is going to win that title, that Money in the Bank briefcase thing. That I'm less confident about. Oh, maybe Alexa Bliss. Can we get rid of that fucking puppet?
Oh, maybe. Maybe.
Sando says the Cedric shit. That could be, Cedric. It could, because he's like never really featured. It's like if he was high on the Cedric stuff, he'd be in Money in the Bank.
He'd at least get a win over Jeff Hardy.
Yeah.
Jason Lewis, WWE gives you both permission to use their talent in the 4th of July parade. Who is the Grand Marshal? Who tosses candy to the kids? And who leads the marching band? And who scoops the animal poop?
There's a guy to scoop the animal poop?
Usually the horses just have that little thing behind their butts. If there's anything to collect the poo, then the poo just falls in there.
Who's the Grand Marshal of our 4th of July parade?
Well, it's the head of the table. From the reins.
Okay. Then Jay and Jimmy toss candy to the kids.
There you go.
Okay.
Who leads the marching band?
Paul Heyman. And who scoops the animal poop?
I mean, the way things are going for him now, it's probably Baron.
Yes, it's Baron Corbin.
That's what he has to do to make some money, because apparently, according to him, he's broke now.
Mm-hmm, correct.
Jameson de Souza. After seeing Cody's Deep Space Nine podcast, I want to see him in an I Quit match with Worf.
Oh, wow.
How could Cody believably book himself to win, because he will? Now, let me ask you this. When Worf broke his back on that one episode, was there any underlying issues you had with his back, or was it just like good as new?
Oh, that stuff was so old school TV writer. It was like they just did it was status quo. It was status quo. It was rare. Like the only person they ever really followed up with on stuff was Picard and Data. Like Picard did the Borg stuff, and then like a couple episodes later, he had to like figure out the PTSD stuff. So he got drunk with his brother. Data was always like, they would always reference shit with Data.
Yeah.
With Worf, no, his back was good as new, because I think they like made a new back or something. Yeah, that's a good reference though. Yeah, maybe he would target the bad back, or maybe he would recruit to play mental games with him. He would recruit his son Alexander to the Nightmare family.
There you go.
That's what it would be, Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Anthony Tobias, today starts my week vacation, and I'm taking my family to the coast. Which wrestlers would make good lifeguards, excluding Brock, because we know he can F5 a shark?
Is that a good, like, is that a thing for like new lifeguards? Like, can you during the interview process, can you F5 a shark? Yes, you're in.
Hired.
How
are you a good swimmer? Can you F5 a shark? Absolutely.
Hired. You're in. Go get in the water. There's a kid drowning. Who's good swimmers in WE or AW? I don't know that I've seen anybody swim.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, diehard Homer says Fisherman. Wardlow looks like he could have. Wardlow looks like he could have been on.
John Morrison.
Oh yeah, of course. He comes from the sea apparently. John Morrison is Fisherman apparently.
Yeah, apparently. Brody Lee fan with WWE feeling more of a chore to watch. According to Brody Lee fan, I feel like I need to rekindle the love I had for wrestling when I first started watching. What are some classic matches, pay-per-views, or shows of other promotions that are perhaps little known and must see?
You know, if WWE is feeling like a chore for people to watch, just pick one thing and watch it, you know? Like, I understand they have 8 hours of weekly programming, 8+. But, like, you don't have to watch it all. You don't have to be a completionist, you know? Just watch
by and large,
SmackDown. Or
the stories that exist on Raw don't exist on SmackDown and vice versa. So if you're into the stories on SmackDown and not the stories on Raw, just watch SmackDown.
SmackDown's kind of their A show anyways.
Yeah.
Just watch SmackDown. That's where the good stuff is. I mean, you had that last man standing match, which was amazing this week. You have Roman Reigns there. That's a compelling story. Becky's probably going to land on SmackDown. You got Bianca as a champion. Bayley's there. Sasha's there. Just watch SmackDown.
Yeah, SmackDown's a good show. The Wild Dude. So with the current story that Vince...
we didn't. Sorry, I apologize. Hold on a second. I have to cut you off. We didn't answer the question. What are some classic matches, pay-per-views, or shows of other promotions?
Watch In Your House Mind Games for Shawn Michaels versus Mankind.
That's good.
For the title, that's a spectacular match.
Watch the video I did for Wrestle Juice where I make AEW stars old. That'll get you back into wrestling. I made Sting smile as well. It's pretty damn funny. I was shocked that their program could recognize Sting's face. Because, like, it made him old with a big gray beard, too. It was pretty funny.
What, the face paint still on?
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. The Wild Dude. So with the current story that Vince really likes Piper, who do you think from the rumored NXT call-ups will Vince at least initially like?
Shotzi.
Yeah, I think Shotzi. I think he's going to really like Karrion Kross, at least initially.
I don't think he will. I think that initially he's going to be like, oh, man, look at this guy. Plus, he's NXT. He's probably a great work rate guy. And then he sees one match. He's like, what the hell's wrong with this guy? He's got 2 left feet. Why does this guy look so confused in the ring?
Medicon, not Raw related, but the way is the best, even to small details, like how John has his thing with Regal's pencils, just magnificent. Chef's kiss. Hope you had a great 4th. Thank you.
Oh man, the way is the best thing in wrestling right now. They're terrific.
They're really good.
They're terrific. Yeah, he'll like Bronson Reed. He'll love Bronson Reed.
Yeah.
He'll enjoy and he'll think Scarlett's $1 million. But yeah, as soon as Cross gets in that ring, what the hell? What are you doing down there, Triple H?
Nicholas Hook with Great American Bash on tomorrow. Power rank what you're most excited to see on the card. We're gonna have to do predictions for that, aren't we? Are you putting the belt up?
What's going on? Great American Bash?
Yeah, that's tomorrow.
I don't have the belt, so I can't really put it up if I don't have it.
I mean, that didn't stop you the first time you said someone stole it.
Well, here's the thing: if it was like an AEW, like I'll put up the AEW title for like their special event. But but like there's like a ton. Here's the thing, like there's a lot of WWE events, like takeovers and pay-per-views. You're talking like what 12, 16, 17 events a year you have.
You just said last week that you're a fighting champ. You're gonna put the belt up all the time. And if you want to do it for every themed AEW show, that's every episode this month.
No, I didn't say everyone. I said one of them.
No.
The Fighter Fest one. Is that a 1 week deal?
There's 2 nights. There's 2 nights.
2 nights. What else do they have? They've got Road Rager, Fighter Fest, Fight for the Fallen. There you go. We'll do Fight for the Fallen for AEW. I think that's fair. I mean, really, there is one match. There's one match that is going to come down to with NXT that that you could have a chance with, and that's the tag title match. Yeah.
Hugh Longheavy with AEW back on the road. What do you think is going to happen to Dark? Do they split up the taping, shorten the shows? Does Elevation still happen? I think Tony Khan talked about it, and I think the idea is, yes, they're going to be shorter shows. That was my understanding.
I mean, I legitimately don't have the title, though. I mean, it's not even just a story.
Yeah, I know. The Enforcer has it.
He doesn't have it. He said he sent it off already.
Tom talks rubbish. Stop. Similar to Vince McMahon having a hang-up for big sweaty men, what do you think Tony Khan and Triple H's hang-ups will be in 20 or 30 years? I think they just like good wrestlers. It's not about a specific body type. They like people who are good workers.
Come on, man. Give it the hang-ups. There's going to be some, when you're old, you just get, after 30 years of doing this, Tony Khan's going to have some weird thing, some weird, predilection for, I mean, right now it's like he's got a thing for, WCW guys. He's going to like 30 years from now, he's going to be like, oh, let me bring in some. He's going to start bringing in like old celebrity hosts from the Raw 2010 years.
Oh, okay.
He's going to be like, Kutcher. Oh, let's bring in. How much does Ashton Kutcher want? 9 days.
Yeah.
6 figures.
Well, if he's in the WCW, how come he hasn't brought in Sid yet?
That's a great question. Somebody needs to ask him that. Has there been, maybe it's because there's like a lot of softball being played these days.
That could be. Dalen Dula, you've just woken up in 2001. You have no idea how to return to your timeline, and no one here remembers you. To make ends meet while you figure this out, you take a job at Singular Wireless in a nearby mall. What pro wrestler do you attempt to sell a brand new Nokia 3310?
Wow, jeez.
Was this 2001?
It'd be like, check out this phone. This is what it does. You're like, does this thing get on the internet? They're like, what? No, of course not. What is it? Does it take pictures? Barely.
If you want to call this a picture.
Mm-hmm. The 3310 is the brick, right?
Maybe.
What pro wrestlers? I mean, any of them. Any of the low, like, because the thing about the brick is that everybody had one. So really, like, you want to try to sell. I don't even know what the fanciest phone they had back then. Was it a black? Did they even have Blackberries back then?
In 2001? I don't know. So the Nokia 3310 isn't the brick.
That was the Motorola. Motorola was the brick.
It was about, 3310 was about that large.
Okay. Did it look fancier than the, like, Motorola brick?
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, high-end guys. Okay, 2001, you're talking main eventers. In 2001, you're talking, like, Triple H. Austin, Rock, Foley, all those guys, yeah.
I checked to see if this individual is actually wrestling in 2001. He wasn't. Didn't make his debut to 2003, but according to Lucha Underground, he has some time travel powers.
Aerostar, yeah.
Aerostar.
Okay.
Unfortunately, he wasn't wrestling 2001. Can't answer him.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Because then if he has time travel powers, he can maybe help me get back home to the correct time period,
What would you invest in?
It'd be 2001?
Yeah, it'd be Netflix, right?
Netflix and Google, of course.
Google.
Lugal.
Let's see here. Nicholas Hook. Oh, never mind. We didn't even answer this one. He started badgering me about my title. So with Great American Bash on the card, Power Rank, what are you most excited to see on the card?
John Gargando's face off with Karrion Kross to see how far he's going to go with insulting Karrion Kross's wrestling ability.
Yeah. He's going to be like, your footwork is terrible. Why do you look confused in the ring?
There's some good matches on the card.
Vince watched you wrestle and he told me that you suck. Damn.
Dang. Fear and Loath and Kevin Nash on Broken Skull Session is over under 50 times to hear the words territory and shoot.
God, I hope they drink wine.
I hope they just talk about Uber facts.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Still one of the best episodes of Stone Cold's podcast.
Did Diesel and no, I guess he was they never crossed paths until 2002, huh? Or 2003, whenever they were brought in.
When did Stone Cold make his way back to WWE?
96.
Yeah. Yeah, Kevin Nash was still there until early 96.
early 96 though. When was Austin there?
Let me look.
Probably early 96, wasn't it? But they were completely different sides of the card.
They were, but then also I'm sure they maybe knew of each other in WCW before WWE.
Oh, I was just talking about, like, did they ever wrestle back then?
Oh, no. So Austin joined, according to Wikipedia, Austin joined WWF after Kevin Nash and Jim Ross helped convince Vince McMahon to hire him in late 1995.
Oh, okay. There you go. All right. I figured they knew each other. I just didn't figure. I was like, did they ever wrestle? Like, did the Ringmaster and Diesel ever mix it up?
No, I don't think so.
Did the Hollywood Blondes and Oz ever have an encounter?
It's entirely possible.
That's a possibility right there.
It's a possibility. Nick, with this Friday being the last Thunderdome for SmackDown, power rank 5 ways on how SmackDown could say goodbye to the Dome.
Explosions. Blow it up. I still say you have who's Roman? Edge. So Roman has the not TNT, the Acme explosives trigger thing. What do you call that?
I don't remember. It's a box with the handle that you push the handle down. It ignites
exactly
the
what
TNT.
it is. What is that thing?
The
ignition.
The dynamite.
The ignition, isn't it? The ignition.
Yeah,
the igniter.
Something like that.
Oh man, there goes my feed. Here we go. I got a new Elgato Cam link on the way, by the way.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, man. Let's see here. Wolverine says, who in any wrestling promotion would surprise you by turning heel out of nowhere in the coming months? It'd be Hangman Page. It'd be really confusing. That'd be an interesting wrinkle, though, if he's like so freaked out about facing Jericho that he turns on the Dark Order. I'm sorry, Jericho. Omega. Yeah.
Any member of the New Day.
Detonator. Thank you. Detonator.
Detonator. That's what it is. Yes. NJWP. What's your favorite new version of a wrestler when they have moved promotions? For example, do you like Cameron Grimes or Trevor Lee better?
Favorite new version of a wrestler when they've moved promotions?
Oh, it's Miro.
Yeah. I like that. I mean, Miro is basically just Rusev Unleashed. So I appreciate that. Cameron Grimes now is not better than Cameron Grimes when he first came in. But Cameron Grimes, when he first came in, like Cameron Grimes as a heel, to me, was a great version, a better version of Trevor Lee, who is already great. I like rich heel Cameron Grimes. I think he's great. I'm not a huge fan of babyface Cameron Grimes. He doesn't seem like he knows how to be a babyface.
He's so
that's
wait, go ahead.
Mox. Andy Jocelyn says Mox. That's a great example.
Lord Ziffer, aside from Seth versus Edge, do you guys foresee any other non-title matches happening at SummerSlam? If so, what do you think those matches would be? Becky versus Bayley. Wouldn't be shocked if that happens.
Any other non-title matches? Yeah, Drew versus probably Jinder. I think Jinder's going to somehow screw Drew out of Money in the Bank.
That's possible. Shane's birthday tweet: should NXT and AEW do touring but have home bases in Florida? Yes.
I think there's something to be said for that. Yeah, I think they should both do that. Yeah, absolutely. I'll be honest. I'm not a huge fan. I understand like the sentimental aspect of it, and I think there is something to be said for, hey, let's be at a home base for 2 or 3 months so that our wrestlers can get the kind of rest that we really need them to have, and then we do touring for a couple months. That being said, I'm not a fan of like Daly's Place, the way they film it. There's too many shots. Like their hard cam, or not hard cam, but their A cam has that like just wall of just like nothing. And then you can see fans like halfway up.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of that whatsoever.
Anthony J. Should Baron Corbin go to NXT and ask Cameron Grimes for a loan?
Yes, that'd be awesome.
Brett Harrington, would Hogan be as big a star today as he was in the 80s?
No.
Nope.
No. I don't know. It's such a weird concept because I don't know. I mean he's such a product of the 80s.
Yes. Yes.
I don't know what he would be like if he grew up 40 years later, you know?
Yeah, I don't know either.
I just don't know what that as a human being, what he would be. Same with Randy Savage. I don't know. I mean, they were very cartoon characters, you know? Mm-hmm. What you gonna do, bro? I mean, you look at his face, at Hogan's face, and it's all bloated and weird. What are you gonna do? Those big eyes bulging out. What are you gonna do, brother? Like, nobody's like that these days, yeah, and I don't know what that is. I mean, obviously he's admitted, and we all know dude's on steroids back then. So if you take that out of the equation, he's kind of a different human being, and you saw that at like WrestleMania 9, where he literally looked like a completely different human being.
Yes.
I don't know. I mean, he's a big dude. He's like 6'6" or whatever. And
Hogan,
Vince,
I think he was like they billed him at 6'8".
Yeah. He's like and so like Vince and he was actually a really good wrestler. You could see good wrestling matches of his in Japan. So maybe he'd still be a big star. He's a big guy. Yeah. And he's a savvy guy. He knew how to politic, and that's an important thing in pro wrestling. I think, yeah, he'd probably be a big star still.
I don't know. Tyler Adcox, who in WWE would you want to see in a hair versus mask match? Who would win? It'd be kind of fun rather than doing the eye for an eye thing if they had done a hair versus mask thing between Ray and Seth.
Andrade and Ray. That should have been hair versus mask.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Gareth, if professional wrestling was featured at the Summer Olympics, which country currently has the advantage? Which country is the underdog?
Professional wrestling was featured at the Summer Olympics. Which country currently has the advantage? Man. Which country? Okay. I'm going to say England is the underdog.
I was going to say that too.
Because their dudes are smaller.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't have Drew McIntyre, who's from Scotland. They don't have Sheamus, who's from Ireland.
Well, they could. They could.
I mean, they could.
Well, I mean, if you're saying just
going
England,
by country, if you're going by country,
okay.
then they don't have those guys.
True.
Who's the biggest guy that England has?
Shaw Samuels.
Why is it? That's what I thought too. That's exactly the name that I thought as well.
Eddie Dennis. He's from Wales.
There you go. Yeah, England is the underdog because they got a bunch of undersized guys.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, how do you not say America has the advantage? To me, it's one of two plays. It's got to be either America or it's Japan has the advantage. I mean, isn't Okada super tall?
Yeah, he's like 6'3".
He's a big dude, right?
Yeah.
So they have guys that can compete on every level. So I'd say like either Japan or America.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, well, hold on a second. America. Well, we have Roman. We got Bobby.
Yeah.
Those are big dudes.
Yeah.
But again, we don't have Drew. We don't have Sheamus. We've got Riddle.
No.
We've got Orton.
Yeah. Braun.
Oh, Braun. Yeah. Brock.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have Brock? Brock's from here. Yeah, he's from like Montana or something, right?
He's from South Dakota, I think.
Oh, South Dakota. Okay. He stays in Canada. Yeah.
He lives in Canada, but
yeah,
he's from South Dakota, I believe.
Yeah.
I got one last question here from Andy Jocelyn. Do you guys have any dream mat chats? Andy says, love to see Andrew from Cultaholic.
Mm-hmm.
Mojo. Mojo, the wrestler formerly known as Mojo Rawley.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And Drama King Matt.
Any dream mat chats? Yeah. Simple. It's us versus Everrise, formerly known as Everrise, so 3.0. I guess they'd probably go by that again.
Wait, are you talking Quizzlemania or are you talking Matt Chat?
Oh, I thought we were talking about Quizzlemania.
No.
Matt Chat. Yeah, well, yeah, it'd be Pacitti.
Yeah.
It'd be Pacitti. Because I could directly ask him about Numberjacks and why he's so on the wrong side of history with Numberjacks.
I mean, he's like he says you know what that is.
It's a quick Google search. All he has to do is research it. Jeez.
It's a busy man, maybe. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Don't tell you. Don't tell you.
Okay, so wait a second. No, Jimmy Thomas says, in the Olympics, they are the UK? So Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland are in? Really?
No, all right.
All right, man. Well, there you go.
Then they would have Drew and Sheamus.
Thought Scottish was all about Scottish independence. Might be a hot topic issue there. I don't know. Anyways,
I don't know either.
that's going to do it for us before we get into an international incident. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.